Genesis chapter 37, verses 3 through 20. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also, he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them, "Please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers, and said, "Look, I have dreamed another dream, and this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to me." So he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him. But his father kept the matter in mind. Then his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." Then he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. Now a certain man found him, and there he was wandering the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" So he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding their flocks." And the man said, "They have departed from here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. Now, when they saw him afar off, even before he came near them, they conspired against him to kill him. Then they said to one another, "Look, this dreamer is coming. Come therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit, and we shall say, 'Some wild beast has devoured him.' We shall see what will become of his dreams."
We're going to learn 2 lessons from Joseph today. Lesson 1, the gift of rejection. Lesson 2, why you should never tell anyone what you are up to. Let us begin with lesson 1. Joseph's rejection, the betrayal of his brothers, wasn't just a setback. It was a setup. A setup for greatness, a setup for destiny, a setup for a God-sized purpose. Hear me today, beloved. Sometimes rejection is not a deviation. It's God's direction. Oh, we might not like it. We're flesh and bone, heart and soul. Rejection hurts. But sometimes that very hurt pushes us towards our destiny. Had Joseph's brothers celebrated him, he might have stayed content among his family. But God had bigger plans. He was destined to save nations, to rise from the pit to the palace. His rejection pushed him into his purpose. And sometimes your rejection is pushing you right into the arms of God's will. You serve a God that has the ability to turn bad situations good and good situations great. You serve a God who can orchestrate the event in your life in a way that you can look back on your life and thank Him for when you were rejected. God has a way of turning rejection into a gift. There is a gift of rejection. There are things in your life that you will only come to see that God was working out for your favor when you have the benefit of hindsight. Allow me to talk about the direction of the Lord God Almighty in the life of Joseph. Loved by his father, but envied by his brothers, he shared his dreams, visions of sheaves bowing and stars, the sun and the moon paying homage. But rather than rejoicing, his brothers despised him. But what man meant for evil, God meant for good. Joseph's dream wasn't for them. It was a promise for Joseph. That envy led his brothers to throw him into a pit, the gift of rejection. Sold into slavery, arriving at Potiphar's house. Just when things were looking up, he faced another rejection, the gift of rejection, a false accusation by Potiphar's wife, and our dreamer found himself in chains again. But child of God, remember this, no chain can bind what God has ordained, the gift of rejection, thrown into prison for a crime he did not commit. Joseph might have felt forgotten, but God had a plan. Even in that prison, Joseph's gifts made room for him. God was setting the stage, ensuring that when the time was right, Joseph would be in the right place. And then, a twist nobody saw coming. From prison to Pharaoh's right hand, the land's second most powerful man, all because of his God-given ability to interpret dreams. God's delay was not a denial, it was a preparation for greater. It is only when Joseph looks back at his life that he can see the gift of rejection and how the rejection of man can be the direction of God. Now, when you feel rejected, remember Joseph. Every rejection he faced was redirection from God, leading him closer to his destiny. Every betrayal was but a stepping stone for his triumph. The pit, the chains, the prison, all were part of God's mighty plan. Your rejection is your redirection. It's God's way of saying, I have something better in store for you. When doors close, it's because God has a bigger door about to open. You're weeping over that lost relationship. You are questioning God. Why did they leave me? But child, do you realize God sees the full picture? He sees tomorrow when you only see today. And when God removes people from your life, trust Him. Trust Him. How can the husband God has prepared for you walk into your life when you are in a relationship that God doesn't want you to be in? How can the wife God has prepared for you walk into your life when you are in a relationship that God doesn't want you to be in? When you are rejected by someone, let them go. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. That job you lost out on, that promotion you didn't get, you're thinking it's a closed door. But maybe, just maybe, it's God's protection. God could be shielding you from a hostile environment, from decisions that could compromise your integrity. Rejection often means redirection and protection. God sees what you can't see. Trust Him. Anytime you are rejected in any form or fashion, trust God. You have no idea what God could be protecting you from. Yes, you can look at me and say, it doesn't feel like God has been protecting me throughout my life. I've been through a lot in my life. But you're still here, aren't you? If it had not been for the Lord, you would not have seen as many birthdays as you have, and you could have gone through much worse situations. Trust in God. Christian maturity is thanking God when He says yes and thanking God when He says no. Christian maturity is thanking God when He answers your prayers and thanking God when He doesn't. Christian maturity is thanking God when He opens doors and when He closes doors. Christian maturity is trusting God in abundance and trusting Him in scarcity. Christian maturity is praising God in joy and praising Him in sorrow. Because a mature Christian understands this principle, that God is in control, He knows everything and is in complete control. I want you to reach this level of maturity where you understand that God knows where you are. He knows the situation you're in. He knows where you are in life. He knows how old you are. He knows how much time you have left. He knows how you feel. He knows who rejected you. He knows who left you. He knows who lied to and cheated on you. He knows who backstabbed you. He knows who betrayed you. I say all this to emphasize this one point. God is in control. God is still on his throne. He has not lost control, and he is ordering each and every step of your life. And I want you to reach this level of maturity where you see rejection as a gift. When you can talk to your Heavenly Father and say, this rejection hurt me, but I trust you. I am in pain because of this rejection, God, but I trust you. I do not know how I am going to get out of this situation, but I trust you. Christian maturity is getting to the point where you understand that. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. So, the next time you face rejection, don't ask, why me? Instead, stand tall, lift your head high, and declare, God, I trust your plan, your direction, your protection. Joseph's rejection was a gift, molding him, refining him, and preparing him for greatness. And just like Joseph, your rejection is shaping you for a divine purpose. Lesson 2, be careful who you open up to. There is no way for us to know how different Joseph's journey to fulfillment of those dreams would have been if he hadn't talked too much. But what we do know is that the Bible advises us to be wise, and wisdom is not in talking too much. Talking too much will get you in trouble. The whole world doesn't need to know what you are doing and where you are going. And the truth is, not everyone is rooting for you. We live in a fallen world, and unfortunately, the truth is not everyone wants the best for you. Not everyone will be happy when God blesses you. In a perfect world, there would be no jealousy. In a perfect world, there will be no envy. I've even discovered that you don't necessarily have to offend someone before they become your enemies. The mere fact that you are being blessed is an offense to them. That's just life. It's not fair. But life isn't fair. People won't always be happy when God blesses you. People will be angry. People will hate you for the blessings of the Lord on your life. You don't need to be rude to them. You don't even need to know their names, but people will simply dislike you because God has blessed you. Do you know what this tells me? This tells me the true extent of human nature. This was his brother. The people who could be your biggest haters could even share your last name. You didn't talk about them. You didn't steal their opportunity. You didn't steal their shine. You didn't steal their thunder, didn't steal their position. They simply had a problem with you because of the simple reality that God has blessed you. But the wonderful thing about God is that he will bless you even more because they dislike you, due to God's blessing on you. Psalms 23:5 says, he prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Be careful who you tell your secrets to. Be careful who you open up to. Yes, it all worked out for Joseph because we serve a God who can turn bad situations good. Genesis 50 verse 20. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. So, be mindful of the words you speak, the information you share, and the confidant you choose. Guard your heart and exercise discretion. Let us learn from Joseph's experience to cultivate wisdom in our interactions. By doing so, we can protect ourselves and maintain a strong, faithful relationship with God. In an ideal world, jealousy, envy, and resentment would not exist. However, we do not live in a perfect world. People may despise and wish harm upon you without any valid reason. You can do the right and honorable thing, yet some individuals will still harbor disdain towards you. Just look at the story of Cain and Abel. Cain murdered his own brother simply because Abel did what was right. This reveals the true extent of human nature. It is disheartening to realize that even those closest to you, even those who share your last name, can become your biggest adversaries. You didn't speak ill of them, steal their opportunities, or diminish their accomplishments. Yet, they have a problem with you simply because God has blessed you. But here's the wonderful thing about God. He will bless you even more despite the hatred directed towards you, because God's blessings transcend human animosity. It is crucial to reach a point of understanding where you don't live your life to please people. Your aim should be to please God and God alone. You need to arrive at a place where whether someone likes or dislikes you does not determine the way you live your life. Make peace with the fact that there will always be individuals who dislike you for no apparent reason. That's just part of life. Accept it and move forward. No matter what you do, they won't like you. Perhaps they dislike your appearance or your background. They may not even have a valid reason, but they still choose not to like you. The Bible acknowledges the existence of enemies. The people in the Bible had enemies, and you will have them too. One of the most remarkable aspects of God is that He does not judge you based on your enemies or who likes or dislikes you. In summary, the life of Joseph teaches us two invaluable lessons: the transformative power of rejection and wisdom of discretion. Rejection, rather than being a setback, can be a divinely orchestrated setup for greater things. Likewise, exercising wisdom in whom we confide in can safeguard us from unnecessary harm.